The crowd surges forward. Security officers lock arms. Journalists push through the chaos. Camera flashes explode across the stage. Some people cheer his name. Others curse it. Few politicians in Kenya inspire both reactions at the same time. Who exactly is Babu Owino? A champion of ordinary people? A political genius? A dangerous populist? Or a man who spent his entire life chasing power because he once knew what it felt like to have none? To answer that question, you have to go back. Back before Parliament, before television interviews, before student politics. Back to a small house in Nyalenda slums, a place where a frightened boy stood frozen in a corner while police officers kicked down his front door. Customers scatter, bottles shatter, money disappears. A woman pleads, a child watches and remembers everything. Because that boy would grow up to become one of the most famous and controversial politicians in Kenya. The question is not how he became powerful. The question is what that pursuit did to him. Before he became Babu Owino, he was Paul Ongili Owino, the last-born child in a struggling family in Nyalenda, Kisumu. Poverty wasn't unusual there. It was normal. Children learned about survival long before they learned about opportunity. Then, tragedy struck. His father, Dominic Owino Oriel, died when Paul was still in class 3. Overnight, everything changed. His mother, Dorcas Owino, became responsible for keeping the family alive. Food, rent, school fees, everything. To survive, she sold changa, illegal alcohol, and with it came constant police raids. Some children woke up to alarm clocks. Paul woke up to boots. Police boots, pounding against wooden doors, while customers scrambled through windows, and his mother pleaded for mercy. Those scenes stayed with him. Years later, he would openly speak about watching authority humiliate the people he loved most.
I could see him beating my mom literally.
His family sank deeper into poverty after his father's death. A young boy became obsessed with escaping the life surrounding him. Children rarely remember every meal they ate, but they never forget humiliation. And Paul hated feeling powerless. The Owino family faced a painful decision. There wasn't enough money to educate every child. Someone had to sacrifice. His mother had already lost her chance at education. Now his siblings would lose theirs too. The family chose one child to continue, Paul. One child, one opportunity, one hope. Imagine carrying that burden, knowing your brother sacrificed, your sister sacrificed, your mother sacrificed. Failure would not only disappoint you, it would disappoint everyone. Education became more than school. It became a responsibility, an obligation, a debt. Then came KCPE. Paul scored 403 marks out of 500. A remarkable result. Good enough to earn admission into Kisumu Boys High School. But once again, poverty stood in the way. The family organized a fundraiser. Relatives contributed what they could. Neighbors contributed what they could. After all the effort, they raised only 900 shillings. 900. Even a proper school blazer was beyond reach. At a bus stop, Paul found a second-hand blazer for 150 shillings. When he arrived at Kisumu Boys, surrounded by students wearing crisp new uniforms, he wore a constant reminder of where he came from. He remembered that feeling and studied harder. Years later, KCSE results arrived. A-. Most students would celebrate. Paul didn't. He bought a newspaper and searched for his name among the country's top-performing students. Nothing. He checked again. Still nothing. To everyone else, he had succeeded. To him, the work wasn't finished. The obsession was growing. In 2008, Paul arrived at the University of Nairobi. And somewhere along the way, Paul became Babu. He enrolled in actuarial science, one of the toughest courses in the country. Statistics, probability, mathematics. The kind of program that breaks even gifted students. Instead, he thrived, eventually graduating with first-class honors. But grades were no longer enough. Not anymore. Because he had discovered something even more powerful than academic success. Influence. SONU, the student organization of Nairobi University. For decades, SONU had been a launchpad for future leaders, a battlefield disguised as a student union. And Babu Owino was determined to conquer it. He won. Then won again. Then again. Then again. 4 consecutive terms as chairman, a record that still stands. The boy who once watched police raids from the corner of a room could now command thousands of students with a microphone. When loans delayed and students struggled to survive, Babu became their loudest voice. His speeches were fiery, his promises were bold, and his warnings became legendary. "We will block all roads mercilessly." The crowd erupted. Supporters loved him. Administrators feared him. Politicians noticed him.
A comrade from the University of Nairobi can be a lecturer who is lecturing postgraduate students in Kenyatta University.
Then came the Obama letter. In 2015, President Barack Obama prepared to visit Kenya. Babu wanted him to visit the University of Nairobi. Most people would have submitted a formal request. Babu did something different. He wrote a letter claiming students were devastated. The country exploded with laughter. Television stations replayed the story. Radio hosts debated it. Newspapers covered it. Days later, President Uhuru Kenyatta publicly confronted him over the letter. Only Babu Owino could turn a university complaint into a national headline. But success created a new problem. The more powerful he became, the more opposition grew. One rival stood out, Mike Jacobs. And unlike previous opponents, he refused to disappear. Their rivalry divided the university. Supporters chose sides. Tensions escalated. The SONU king had finally met resistance. For years, Babu seemed unstoppable. Every controversy made him stronger. Every criticism made him more famous. But power changes how people see you. And eventually, it changes the questions they ask. No longer, can he lead? Now, should he? The conflict with Mike Jacobs intensified. Allegations emerged. Confrontations followed. Court cases followed. National headlines followed. For the first time, many people were no longer discussing what Babu had achieved. They were discussing what he had become. His reputation came under increasing scrutiny. The line between strength and aggression became harder to distinguish. The qualities that help people rise can become the same qualities that threaten their future. University politics was ending, but a much bigger stage was waiting. Parliament, and with it, the greatest test of his life. Embakasi East elected him to Parliament. The boy from Nyalenda had become a member of Parliament. The story seemed complete. It wasn't. January 2020. A nightclub in Nairobi. Music pounds through the speakers. Lights flash across crowded tables. People laugh. People dance. Then, a gunshot. Panic. Confusion. Phones emerge. Someone collapses. His name is Felix Orinda, better known as DJ Evolve. Within hours, the story dominates the country. Court proceedings follow. Television stations cover every development. Social media becomes a battlefield. Supporters defend him. Critics condemn him. For years, controversy had followed Babu Owino. But this was different. Because this time, there was a victim the country could see. A victim whose recovery became part of the story. For the first time in years, Babu wasn't controlling the narrative. The narrative was controlling him. The image of the unstoppable fighter had cracked. Perhaps permanently. Then the world stopped. COVID-19 arrived. Schools closed. Students stayed home. And Babu Owino appeared somewhere unexpected. A classroom. Virtual lessons. Mathematics. Chemistry. Revision sessions. Hundreds of thousands of students watched. The contrast was striking. The man known for protests and political battles was now teaching equations and exam techniques. At the same time, he continued studying law, qualified as an advocate, offered legal assistance, supported education programs, funded bursaries. The fighter was attempting to become a builder. Whether it was redemption, reinvention, or survival, depends on who you ask. So, who is Babu Owino? Look at Nyalenda and you see resilience. Look at Kisumu boys and you see obsession. Look at Sonu and you see ambition. Look at Parliament and you see influence. Look at DJ Evolve and you see controversy. Look at the virtual classrooms during COVID and you see transformation. Perhaps all those versions are true. Perhaps the boy who watched police officers raid his home never stopped chasing the same thing: the power to never feel powerless again. And maybe that is why Kenya still cannot decide what Babu Owino truly represents: a warning, a success story, or the future.